Hey everyone, my name is Lauren, my business partner is Hallie, and we are the Mile High Property Sisters. And today I'm going to be talking to you about suburban living versus city living in the Denver metro. Just a quick reminder, Hallie and I are licensed real estate agents in the state of Colorado. If you have any questions, concerns, comments regarding real estate, or you have real estate needs, please feel free to reach out to us at our number or email listed below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We put out a new video every single week. Thank you so much for tuning in. So let's jump right off. Let's talk about city living. So first and foremost, if you're gonna choose city living in Denver, you are going to have a closer proximity to downtown Denver, obviously. So there's some pros and some cons that come with that. I would say probably the biggest con that comes with city living is going to be the congestion, the traffic. A lot of neighborhoods are very mature, so we'll get to the pros, which is a great thing. But a lot of them were built in like the early 1900s, so streets are more compact. There's a lot of one-way roads through neighborhoods, and this makes it difficult. One, street parking. There's not a lot of garages. I mean, there'll be like a one-car detached garage, but it's a little compact. And then there's just your typical traffic. But you do have an incredibly close proximity to downtown Denver. So if you are going to be commuting for work, if you are big, Broncos games, Empower Field, Coors Field, baseball, concerts, anything like that, you love trying different, eclectic restaurants, you're going to want to be closer to downtown and less out of kind of suburbia. So with that being said, some of these neighborhoods that I'm going to name, you're roughly proximity wise and drive time, maybe 20, 25 minutes to downtown, depending on traffic, depending on the time that you leave. But some really cool neighborhoods are going to be the Highlands. There is Washington Park, or Wash Park as the locals like to call it. We have Cheeseman Park, Congress Park. We have Hilltop. There's so many unique little neighborhoods that they all have a very different feel. So again, many of these neighborhoods built in the early 1900s, and you are going to find that charm. So what I mean by that is there are going to be craftsman bungalows, there's Tudors, there's Victorians, and then a lot of these have really been scraped. So completely gutted out, remade to a super modern, fresh looking inside. I mean, a lot of these homes have been very, very nicely well done. They do have a very kind of brown and tan feel, a lot of whites. And then in Washington Park, you'll definitely find, I feel like, more greenery. So a little bit more parks and open space, but all of these are surrounded by great outdoor amenities such as Congress Park, Cheeseman Park, Hilltop. There's a lot of great places that you can go and, run outdoors, go walk in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, even in the winter. So we do get cold winters here, but because we're at such a high elevation, it really warms up really quickly, and you'll find yourself being able to go take a nice walk in the middle of winter, like 40, 50 degrees. And so having parks nearby, you think, oh, I'm never gonna do that in the winter. No, you absolutely will. So you have a lot of proximity to parks, a lot of proximity to downtown, different amenities. I mean, there are grocery stores, restaurants everywhere. Avanti, one of my favorite restaurants near the downtown area, near the Highlands, super cool. You have Little Man ice cream. That's always a staple. So with these homes that you will find, and kind of, all of these neighborhoods are a little different. I'm just giving like a broad overview. You're going to have, if you're going to compare city living to suburbia, city living, you're going to have a smaller square footage. So closer to the city generally is going to have a higher price tag to it, because a lot of these homes, these Victorians, these Tudors, they've all been scraped and gutted, and brand new modern appliances and a modern feel and a clean look. So with all of that does come, a little hefty price tag, that location. But you can find, many homes, are around like maybe 2,000, 3,000 square feet. You can find bedrooms, about 3-4 bedrooms. And then on top of that, you will find with a lot of these places, a lot of detached garages. So usually a single car detached garage would be enough space for a car, maybe like if you have a small lawn or something like that, your toys, machines, whatever. But past that, it's going to be a lot of street parking. So if that's something you don't really love, I in particular am horrid at parallel parking. And so the thought of trying to parallel park on a busy street for me just sounds like my literal nightmare. Okay, and then with a lot of these neighborhoods as well, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, we have a lot of mature trees. So all of these beautiful trees, they're full grown, they're way in the sky, they're giving tons of shade to our harsh sun that we can sometimes get here in the summer, even in the winter. So lots of trees, grass everywhere. There's a lot of walking trails, biking trails, so access to a lot of those different amenities. And then if we're talking about school districts, we have Denver County Public Schools is there, and great school district, great schools. And then in terms of access to, nearby outdoor recreation, so I did name, Congress Park, I've named Cheeseman Park, a couple of others. So from a lot of these neighborhoods, you're looking around, maybe like a 30-ish minute drive to Cherry Creek Reservoir. So this is obviously a big body of water. You can boat here, paddleboard, swim, there's camping. So that is super close to you, not too far. And then, being in this area, because you're downtown, it tends to be very flat. So what I mean by that is, when I'm talking about kind of the suburban neighborhoods that I'm going to go to next, I'm going to be talking more on kind of like the west side of Denver. If you're on the west side of Denver still, but more closer to downtown, it is just very flat. So you do kind of miss out on those mountain views. You do get a Colorado feel, like the feel is still there architecture wise and all of that, but you don't necessarily have those picturesque like foothill mountain views that you might be looking for, but you do get a lot of the maturity in the neighborhoods. You get the charm and all of that good stuff. And then if you are wanting, to be more outdoors, let's say, how far are the foothills or Red Rocks Amphitheater or other types of hiking and biking trails that Colorado is known for? So when we're talking about some of these like outdoor recreational places, you're really looking at distance to get to like the foothills of Denver, Red Rocks Amphitheater, from kind of these downtown city living neighborhoods. You're looking at like around maybe 40-45 minutes, maybe longer if you're going like back end of the day and you're dealing with traffic. It's going to be probably well over an hour, unfortunately. But still, that's not horrible. You still have access to a lot of outdoor amenities right in your backyard, in the downtown area, but you just get more of that city living. So that is city living near the Denver Metro. Just a little brief overview. Now, if we're going to be talking about kind of that suburban living, I want to focus more. I'll kind of just pick one of, Denver's most popular suburban neighborhoods, suburbs, is going to be Littleton. Littleton is very well known, great school district, right up there on the west side of I-25. You're going to be right up against the foothills, so it's really a prime location. When people move to Colorado, I get this a lot. Littleton is very, very much requested because it's just a well-known suburb and you get the mountain views. So the difference with the city living that I mentioned, it's very flat. You're kind of, unfortunately not as able to see as many of those mountain views. Littleton is going to be very different. It's very, there's a lot of hills. There's very much like a tumbling like hillside. So you'll get like lots of different picturesque, homes everywhere, views in all different directions. And there is a lot of outdoor recreation. I mean, right in your backyard. I have so many friends, myself included. There are massive bike trails that just run all throughout Littleton, Highlands Ranch, Castle Rock, all of these little suburban neighborhoods. We just have a lot of greenery and like open space to work with around here. Everything's a little bit more spread out. Homes are built a little bit later. So you do kind of have that more like spread out your arms. You're not touching your neighbor type of ordeal. But distance to outdoor amenities, I mean, we have Deer Creek Canyon Park. We have Hildebrand Ranch. We have Chatfield State Park, which is a phenomenal state park. It's got camping, a giant dog park. It's got boating, all that sort of thing. We also have Roxborough State Park, where the big red sandstone formations are coming out of the ground. You can only hike in there. There's no biking or camping or anything like that allowed, but it is really beautiful. Tons of open space parks, distance to Red Rocks. I mean, if you're in Littleton, you're probably looking at it, depending on what side of Littleton you're on, maybe 10 to 15 minutes to these outdoor rec places. And then there's Highline Canal, which runs directly through a lot of suburban neighborhoods and honestly actually goes all the way out to Aurora. So it's a 71-mile hiking, biking, horseback riding. There's sections of horseback riding, but it's all connected 71 miles from Waterton Canyon in Littleton all the way out almost to the Denver International Airport out by Aurora. So it's a huge long stretch, but that bike path runs all through. And there's so many parks, but kind of the differences with the style of living. So you're going to get the same amount of amenities. I mean, we have grocery stores and restaurants everywhere. We have obviously Chatfield has a lake, just like Cherry Creek Reservoir has a lake. We have tons of parks, but the difference is going to be kind of the style of home that you're going to be looking at. So city living, I would say there aren't as many HOAs. In Littleton, there's a few more new build areas. If you're looking at other suburban neighborhoods like Highlands Ranch, all HOAs. Castle Rock new build communities, definitely going to have an HOA. But then there are definitely some places that don't. So it's kind of a hit or a miss there. But in terms of like year built, I would say the median age in Littleton in particular is built in like 1981. You will certainly find homes, back in like 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way up into the 2000s. We have a new build community, Sterling Ranch, that's in Littleton, which is an absolutely beautiful, beautiful neighborhood, and you will find HOAs in there. So you'll get a little bit of that old, definitely some new. And then with Littleton, there's pockets. So the new build communities, definitely not going to have as mature neighborhoods, mature trees. Now, there's definitely, this is a more mature new build neighborhood. So you do have grass, tons of open space and greenery. But the trees, I mean, it does look kind of flat and the trees are not fully grown in. It's going to take years and years for that. If you're looking at a new build community in Littleton, the distance to amenities, I mean, from Sterling Ranch just in particular, you're looking well into a 10-minute drive to get to the nearest grocery store from your house. So, in differences there, it's not walkability wise, it's not great. But if you're in an older neighborhood in Littleton, you definitely have walkability. There's like Governor's Ranch, you could easily walk to a grocery store. You can easily walk to the elementary school there. So that's a little bit of difference there. In terms of size of home, you're definitely going to get a larger home. There's always a caveat to that, but typically, yes, you are going to get a larger home in terms of square footage. So in Littleton, kind of median square footage, I mean, you're well going to be starting like the 3,000 square feet range, and you can go up to like 4,500 square feet. I mean, we definitely have some massive lots out in Littleton for sure. Definitely in some new builds, but some of the homes in Littleton will even have a 3-car garage. So definitely more parking availability, more storage. These neighborhoods are not built, in the early 1900s. So the streets are, much wider. There's definitely, easier street parking. Now, the downside is that Littleton, again, depending on the neighborhood, depending on the home, this does not include new builds, but you will find many homes that are very dated. So homes, here, you're not going to have the charm. Yes, if it's not a home that's in an HOA, it's not going to look very cookie cutter. They're not all going to look the same. There are some neighborhoods that definitely have a very charming feel. But if you're wanting like Victorian, Tudor, bungalow, you're not going to find that in Littleton or really any of the suburbs, on like the west side of Denver. But inside a lot of these homes, they are going to be dated. So a lot have not been like scraped and gutted and renovated. So you are going to have to probably do some updates when you go on there. The cabinets might be looking a little tan, a lot of maybe like older carpet. But again, nice size lots, very spread out. You can find homes, 4, 5 bedrooms. So there is that component as well. All right. And then the school districts, in Littleton in particular, because that's the one that I'm focusing on. We do have a lot of school districts out, kind of west side of Denver, but you're going to be looking at, Jefferson County, Douglas County, Littleton Public Schools, all great school districts. Again, lots and lots of amenities. It really just kind of depends on what style of home you're looking for, what kind of views do you want to be seeing, what size house do you want, do you want an HOA, do you not, how far is going to be your commute. Let's say Littleton and you need to commute to downtown without traffic. you are looking at maybe a 40-minute drive, 45-minute drive. If you leave early in the morning, you could get there in like 30, no problem. But that traffic really does tend to build up. So you definitely have more of a commute if you're living in the suburbs and you're working downtown. But again, these are just some things to think about. This is a super brief, quick overview of kind of just style of home and things you can see in terms of differences, in terms of city living versus suburban living. But if you have any questions, concerns, comments, please feel free to reach out to us again at our number or our email listed below. We would love to help you with all of your real estate needs. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we hope you tune in to the next one, and thanks so much for watching.